Gamescom attracts gamers and game developers from all over the world, even all the way in the land down under. Joining us now to discuss some of the game development scene in Australia, please welcome the CEO of the IGEA, Ron Curry, and the Director of Industry and Member Relations for the IGEA, Jens Schroeder. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Now, Cult of the Lamb was recently released. It's already one of the best reviewed games of the year. Damon's playing it like crazy.
Yeah.
I've got it on my Steam Deck. I can't wait to play it on my flight home. Tell me how this game came together and what the sort of Australian development scene did to sort of kind of support it and bring it here, because it's really, really cool and very unique.
It is. It's like Animal Crossing, but with more cults.
Yes.
I think we could all use more cults.
That's what that game needed, was more cults.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
Look, Cult of the Lamb, I think it's also the result of some of the very generous incentives that the Australian states have on offer. So Cult of the Lamb was made in Melbourne, Victoria, which has some really great incentives on offer for game developers, like grants and so on. So it really thrived in that ecosystem. You know, it's been around for a little while. I remember seeing very early versions of that, but ultimately it really got accelerated by the support of the Victorian state. And, you know, I think Melbourne just has a really great history of making quirky indie games. Untitled Goose Game, that was made in Melbourne as well, enjoyed similar support. So, you know, it's really the kind of environment.
Crossy Road.
Crossy Road, exactly.
Right.
It really thrives within that environment. And, you know, I mean, Victoria has Australia's largest games ecosystem. Like half of the studios are based there, more than half of all the designers, more than half of the staff in Australia are based in Melbourne. And it's a great ecosystem for these kind of quirky games to happen.
I like that the place is supporting the game development.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you don't hear about that a lot. Like, it's not very often where someone's like, here's some money, go make a game about cults.
Yeah, exactly.
Outrageous.
Yeah, look, it's the Victorian government, and we're lucky we see it right across Australia now, but the Victorian government has been historically very supportive of game development, and not just big names. They're happy to support quirky games, startups, and they do it through a whole number of different incentives and levers. It's not just, here's some money,
right?
But it's, here's some money, here's some support, here's some guidance, here's some introductions, here's some money to go to Gamescom. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that, not just Victoria, but Victoria are very good at it.
It's awesome.
What is the IGEA and what's its function?
So we're the trade association representing video games developers and publishers and distributors in Australia and publishers in New Zealand. So we've got a few jobs, but our main job is to make sure the landscape in Australia is right to develop games and succeed. And we do that through advocacy, so lobbying governments on a whole bunch of issues, on research, so, you know, who's playing games, why are they playing games, what are they spending on games, and communications, comms, talking about games, talking about the positive about games, and also when the negative stories come out, trying to get in front of those and, you know, and make sure that we have a balanced conversation.
Do you find that because this scene is starting to boom and it's starting to get bigger and bigger, that you're starting to attract developers from elsewhere?
We are. So the Australian government, the federal government, announced that they're introducing what they call the digital games tax offset. So it's a 30% offset for games, which is coupled with the states. We're probably going to be the most generous country in the world to make video games, as opposed to go back a year and we're probably the least affordable place to make video games, in spite of the great products we had coming out. So it's certainly what we believe we're going to see is this boom in Australia over the next 24, 48 months. It's going to be sensational.
Budding game developers out there, if you're looking to relocate, you know, you're in your mom's basement right now. I spent a lot of time back there. You just this is where you go. Get on the airplane and go check it out.
You spent a lot of time in their mom's basement?
I did. We don't have to talk about that here, but yes, it's true.
And it's just not the incentives. You know, it's a great place to live.
Yeah,
you know, and that's when we're talking to people about, you know, setting up a studio in Australia. You know, the offsets are great, but it's also about quality of life. It's lifestyle. I know we're a long flight away, but you know, it's just a good place to do business. You know, we're in Asia. You know, half the world's gamers live on our doorstep.
Right.
You know.
And, you know, I mean, in case you're wondering where that accent is coming from, I'm originally from Germany. I moved to Australia. My wife is Australian, so I can absolutely testify to that. Like, it is a great place to be.
They got you over there.
Oh yeah. Well, it's my wife.
Now, TopplePop, another recent game from Australia. What can you tell us? What can you tell us about that
TopplePop, Sydney Maids, made by 4 friends who've known each other 10 years. They collectively have a really great track record of making games. One of them was involved in Rodeo Stampede. They did extremely well in China. They had an animator that worked on Mad Max Fury Road. And it's like this physics-based puzzle game with bendy animals on on rubber bands. So it's very much a homage to 90s Japanese puzzle games. And I mean, it's very accessible, but it's also very deep. So, it's going to be released on Switch and PC next year. And, I mean, it lends itself even to esports. Like, it has just a breadth of, of qualities. And, yeah, I mean, it's just another example, like a small, quirky indie game coming out of Australia. Won, a prize a bit somewhat in Kyoto, I believe, some viewer's choice, something along those lines. So, keep an eye out on that one. Just it's a perfect example of a small Australian-made indie game.
Now, are these blocks in pain? they seem like they.
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I was going to say I hope they're not, but okay.
There's no way around it.
I see a smile every now and then, but a lot of them are like, get me out of here.
Yeah, no, that's.
Yeah.
No, they're sadists.
And they're on this beautiful tropical island too. But yeah, I really like the sort of the art direction here, and also just the difference in the themes on the levels.
Yeah.
We went from there was a game show where blocks were watching the other blocks get tortured, and now here we're in a city. We went to the beach. I liked Kenneth the Furious the chimpanzee that we briefly were introduced to for a second there. Yeah, there's just some great characters here.
Yeah.
And then there's Age of Darkness.
Yes.
It's a little bit of a different
change of
scale.
tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah, shifting gears.
Yeah.
What's Age of Darkness all about?
So Age of Darkness is a dark fantasy RTS. It's made by PlaySide Studios, one of the largest studios in Australia. And, it's really a great embodiment of the AAA capabilities in Australia. It's been in early access since October last year. It uses proprietary technology. You get up to 70,000 enemies on the screen if you really wanted to, just sort of, highlighting the sort of desperate mood that they want to convey.
Yeah.
And, if you see the trailer, there's one coming out on Friday, brand new. Keep an eye out on that. It'll really demonstrate that well. PlaySide has worked in a lot of mobile spaces, console, but this is really them venturing into AAA territory, and I think they've done a fantastic job.
Yeah,
it's been nominated for a Gamescom award as well, rightfully so. Really, really great game. Very centered on the heroes. I think the trailer that's coming out tomorrow is going to highlight one of the heroes' capabilities and how they bring light into the world of darkness.
Ooh, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Big fan of Edwin, the wielder of the flame. Yeah, this is great. You said there were 70,000?
So their proprietary technology would allow up to 70,000 enemies on screen. They really
Yen's going to count. We're going to make sure. So
right. We'll hold them accountable to that. So just follow up. We'll
Yeah, this looks extremely cool.
And this is coming to which platforms? I'm sorry, it's out on early access.
So early access on PC. Yeah.
Can you envision it coming to other platforms as well, to consoles?
So I think it's PC for now, and so the next step is going to add a campaign and multiplayer. So no firm timelines for that yet. It's ready when it's done.
Gotcha.
They really want a high polished product. So it's currently the survival mode. But yeah, that's going to be next.
He's got some swagger to his walk there. He's kind of like,
oh yeah, well,
look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
That's a bit of Australian swagger. Yeah.
Okay, so here comes the tons and tons of enemies.
Here comes
immediately
70,000.
when we first started talking, they were all kind of hanging out in the field in front of a house, and now things obviously got immediately very intense, and bloody too, which is always fun.
Oh yeah.
So what's happening here with the sort of is this the kind of level select screen, or how does the kind of overworld fit?
Yeah,
into
I mean,
this?
just sort of moving from world to world, and bring lightness. That's not a word. Light.
The lightness.
It's the lightness. It's my second language. So
Hey, you know what? This is the world of video games. You're allowed to make up words and worlds and characters and enemies.
Absolutely.
That could be your new buzzword, bringing lightness.
Yeah, I hope I don't become a meme.
Well, Jens, Ron, thank you so much for joining us to chat about Australian games and the Australian game development community.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
All right, we have plenty more games to check out right here on IGN Live at Gamescom 2022.